All right, guys, here she is. This is about, I would say about 15 bash sessions. I've hit up a lot of places. I beat this thing up pretty good. Obviously, we blew the tire up. This happened just now, actually, while Melissa wanted to shoot a TikTok with it. Yeah, exploded the tire. Body's beat up pretty good. The first damage I took was in the front here. Just whenever I nose dove it, and I'll talk more about that here in a little bit, but broke the front of the body here, and then there's a little bit of like a bubble there. But other than that, it held up really, really well. The body is awesome. Look at this. There's what it looks like inside. I do have the clips in the battery bar. I think that's awesome. Look under it. Held up pretty well, guys. Real quick, we'll do the Kevin Talbot test. We got a straight edge here. See if the chassis bent after all those jumps. Nope. Looking good. What is up, guys? My name is Mark Santamaria. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the RC vlog, guys. We got the Sledge. I have driven the crap out of this thing. I'm not even joking, guys. Like every break I get throughout the day, I've been running battery packs. I would say if I had to guess, I have probably around 15 bash sessions / battery packs of this thing. I put it through the ringer, and I'm going to give you guys my full opinionated review on how this thing handles and everything else. Everything you want to know about it, I'll tell you all about it in this video right here. So I took it to several different bashing areas, my typical bashing areas. I also drove in the parking lot a little bit. Not a little bit, actually I drove it in the parking lot a lot, almost a full battery pack actually. I took it some new places, and then I hit some really, really big jumps. I did a lot with it. So I did pretty much what I think anyone else would do, aside from like launching it off a 100-story building or something like that. But yeah, guys, let's first start off with giving TRAXXAS a big thumbs up on the durability. This thing is durable, just as everyone thought. It's like a beefed up truggy. I mean, it is super durable. There aren't very many cars that I've driven where you can run a good 3 or 4 battery packs through it and nothing go wrong. And they're all small things. Like even my Creighton EXB, I nose dove it and it ripped the front bumper off. Things go wrong, things break. I mean, these cars are big and heavy and we wreck them pretty hard. So things go wrong. There's rarely cars that don't have anything go wrong. I didn't do anything to this thing. Like I didn't tighten the screws, nothing. I didn't check the pinion, literally nothing. And I didn't have any problems until probably maybe battery pack in bash session 10, somewhere in there. So it did really, really well. I was actually really surprised. You can drive with confidence because it is super freaking durable. I think the best way for me to describe how this car feels, you get the drive experience of like an e-Revo. Like it's fast, drives like a truggy, it soaks up all the jumps. It's a driver's car, but you get the durability of like a Max and an X-Max. Now with that said, I still kind of give the edge of durability to the Max, and not because this car isn't beefy and hardcore. I don't think I ever broke my Max, to be honest. I changed a few things. I broke my V2 Max, but it was because I turned it into a Super Max, which is why you probably, I mean, it's fun, but it's not the most ideal. It's not designed for that. But the reason for the braking is the reason why I don't give this one the edge over the Max on durability, and it's so big. There's so much rotating mass. The tires on this thing, I mean, you guys saw when I blew the tire off. The tires on this thing are freaking huge. They're huge and heavy. So much rotating mass, and anytime you have that much rotating mass, you're flying at 55 miles an hour. It's spinning really, really fast. You're slamming into the ground. I mean, there's not very much that can hold up to this. So the fact that it can hold up that well is insane. With the Max, you have a lot less rotating mass. Tires are a lot smaller. It's definitely not as heavy. I would almost say it might even be half the weight of this thing. That's how heavy this thing is. So that's why I give the Max like an edge on durability. However, this thing is a freaking tank. In regards to the power system, I mean, this thing has power galore. And when I say power galore, even in the parking lot, whenever I was doing speed runs, you can't put all the power down. You just can't. Like the front tires would balloon up. The diff has that, I think it's like 20 million or 200 million, something crazy in the center diff. It's almost like it's locked. But because these tires are so big, there's so much rotating mass, it does give a little bit, and your tires balloon. I didn't have a big enough parking lot to go full throttle and really get top speed. On the GNSS Performance Analyzer, I did 54. I have no doubt in my mind that it will do 55 straight out of the box on 6S. It's got so much power. It's got that power where when you just, like, whenever I went to the park, I would just drive it down the street really quick just to kind of do a couple of passes just to make sure everything's functioning fine. And it's kind of loud, and it's just spinning the tires, and it just, everyone's like, they're like turning heads because it's incredible amount of power. Never overheated. Didn't overheat one time. So they got the power system right. And the fact is, these are huge, a lot of rotating mass, a lot going on, and it didn't overheat. The power system, legit. So let's start with the game changers. I think these things are game changers. This might not mean a lot to you guys. First off, the body clip design, oh my God. I mean, it's freaking awesome. Literally one hand. And I don't know about you guys, but usually you get out of the car and you're like, okay, I gotta take the body clips off, I got to plug the batteries in, I gotta put the body clips back on. Sometimes you'll find the holes. And then on the e-Revo, it was a little bit better, but still you kind of have to like shimmy it on and kind of like make sure it goes in the little section. Look at this. That's it. That was putting the I mean, the body is on there. It's insane. Like, they nailed this body design. It's so easy. You can do it with one hand. You literally just put it on, slide it back, it latches, and you push it down. I mean, it's insane. I think that is a game changer. I think it's like, if you're a basher, I get, if you're a racer, it doesn't really matter. You're gonna have to prep your car anyways. But if you're a basher, I mean, that is a game changer to me. I mean, look how easy that is. Oh, freaking awesome. I like designs that make it simpler on the owner/driver. And the other thing that they killed, and to me is a game changer, is this battery bar. The battery bar is awesome. So typically, in the past, you would have these cool design battery bars where it was easy to get the battery in and out, right? But you would have batteries fly out. I did not have a battery fly out once. And the reason is when you put this battery bar in and then you put these body clips in the little holes, there's like a little hole to put body clips in, it's not coming out. It's not. I mean, look how cool that looks too. I have these body clips that someone sent me, and they're nice and big, and it's easy to get it in there after you put your battery in. The battery bar design, game changer. Now, with that said, I know there's some concerns people have been talking about. Will it fit my other 3S batteries? I run the TRAXXAS 3S batteries, and the cool thing about the TRAXXAS 3S battery is they sit up like this. I feel like it's a little bit less likely you're going to damage the cell if it's up like this versus like this, where they're slamming on each other. So basically, the batteries go in like this. The battery bar snaps in, and then you put those battery or body clips in the battery bar. It's not going anywhere, guys. I think that is an awesome design. Mad props to that one. And the other game changer is the power system. Again, not only is it super powerful, the throttle curve is very linear. It's very linear. Like, and what I mean by linear is a lot of times on some of the older rush system, there's kind of a delay, and you'll go, and then it will kind of take off, right? That's kind of exponential. Like, your throttle curve ramps up. On this, it's very linear. Same with the brakes. The braking is very linear versus, you know, you slam the brake and then it finally catches, and a lot of times, like on the Max, it would flip over. This, no, as soon as you can basically finesse the brake, you can endo and still control your endo and bring it back down. I like the updated power system. It's pretty freaking good. In regards to how it drives, so it soaks up the bumps just as we thought a Truggy would soak up the bumps and jumps. It does it really well. That was never a complaint. Now, when it comes to steering, I didn't like the feel of the steering with TSM. I felt like when TSM was on, there was a lot of understeer, meaning it would push. Like, you would try to turn and it would go really wide. With TSM on, there was a lot of understeer. And then when I turned TSM off, there was a lot of oversteer. I don't know what that's I don't know what makes that happen. Maybe it's a servo saver. Like, the servo saver is really loose on here, and the servo saver being the little spring that holds the steering together. On my race vehicles, I tighten them almost all the way down and maybe half a turn back. This one looks almost all the way out. So when the servo saver gives, basically when you're turning, the servo saver will give and you can't turn. Maybe that has something to do with it. I do give the servo props. I mean, there was one time I let Ethan drive the car, and he did cartwheels for probably 50 yards. Like, I was like, is it gonna stop? and it didn't break the servo. And that's really hard on your servo as you're doing cartwheels, so that was pretty good. But it also might be because the servo saver's so loose. But the steering is better, definitely better, and I like how you can adjust it. I didn't adjust anything, but out of the box, again, it was weird. I turned TSM all the way off because I didn't like the understeer. And then whenever I turned it off, there was oversteer, especially on power. It's kind of weird. You would think a 4-wheel drive truck on cement would be easy. You can just kind of pull it and go, but it's got so much power. There's so much rotating mass, diffing out, all different types of factors going in. It does a little bit of drifting thing with TSM off. So I still think the fact that you can make changes to steering is a huge upgrade from what we've seen in the past. So the only way you could do updates to steering, like on the Slash, things like that, is to get an upgraded steering, an aftermarket servo saver, something like that. So that's a big plus to me too. So in regards to the flaws, I know you guys want to hear about the flaws in this truck. So I said I got to about 10 packs before something went wrong. I did pop this rear dog bone out, the left rear dog bone out a couple times. And when I say a couple, 2 times. Now, the fact that it popped out, that kind of sucks. However, I didn't break anything. All it was I had to take the screw off where the camber link went into the tower, and then you can just put that dog bone back in. It didn't go flying out. Both times it kind of just sat on top of the arm, but it did pop out. I don't know what's causing that. My suspicion is if you put droop screws in there, it might fix that. Not a huge deal, but that was potentially one of the things that I at least my experience, I ran into. I don't know if we can consider that a flaw, but that did happen. Also, whenever you're driving the thing, because it's so heavy, the entry angle is really low. And what I mean by that is if you're like this and you're landing, I guess because it's so heavy, it's compressing the suspension, and it basically lawn darts. It does the little lawn dart thing, maybe a little too much. Like, you pretty much have to land perfectly flat, or maybe even rear wheels first in order not to lawn dart. It likes to lawn dart a lot, and I think it has a lot to do with the mass. I think you maybe stiffen the springs, maybe put some pistons in the shocks that maybe add a little bit of pack. Maybe it won't happen as much. I don't know if this front bumper might be sticking out too far, but it does have a little lawn dart action going. I did it a couple of times. It didn't break. That's the good part. A lot of times, that's actually how the Creighton EXP broke. I lawn darted and it ripped that front bumper off. It didn't break. No flexing, nothing like that. I mean, it's as strong as can be. But you do got to be really careful whenever you land, because you don't want to land too much nose down, because it will lawn dart, catch, and then flip over, which is kind of cringy to me because you're going so fast and hitting the ground. Yeah, I don't like it. And lastly, I don't know if this is really a flaw, more just an observation. The truck is super heavy, like super heavy, and I think that's a lot of the problems that it's having is probably because the truck is super heavy. And what I mean by that is it's potentially the dog bone is flexing because it's so much rotating mass on the rear tire. And then also the entry angle being low and the lawn darting action could be because it's just too freaking heavy. Like, it's just lawn darting and catching dirt. The thing that scares me about it being super heavy is if I let my son drive it, or let's say I accidentally hit my son or another kid or somebody, it for sure will break a leg. Like, it's that much heavy. it's like basically a 50-mile-an-hour boulder. It's huge like that. So again, I understand why it's heavy, because they have to make it more rigid and durable, which they definitely nailed. But I would just recommend, if you do get this thing and you let someone that hasn't been driving very long, or there's a lot of people, be really careful, because I would hate to see this go into a crowd of people, because it will hurt. I mean, it's like X-Max style heavy. So I want to end the video with this. I released my video yesterday. I saw a lot of the comments, and I actually joined a couple of the live feeds, and I want to make a couple of comments on this. First off, a lot of the Arrma fans are saying stuff like, "Oh man, they copied Arrma, and oh, it's time for lawsuit." Like, we should probably stop that. And I'm only saying that because Arrma was not the first person to invent truggy. They're not the person that invented truggy. The only thing to me that is that I don't even think it's not proprietary is the center brace that goes across. I know Arrma did that, but that makes sense. If you're bashing a car, I'll admit, like, the Techno is super strong, But in order, like, if I was doing the stuff that I did with my Techno, it would, I don't know if it would bend, but that center chassis brace would definitely help. But there's no, I don't think there's any copying. This is it's a truggy platform, guys. It's a truggy platform. And Arma wasn't the first to make the truggy platform. Everyone has a truggy platform. So, yeah, I mean, those, I get it. Y'all like the Creighton. I like the Creighton. The Creighton's pretty freaking good. And I will do a comparison video with the Creighton in this. So make sure you subscribe and turn on the notification bell because that's coming. But yeah, the whole lawsuit thing, I mean, come on, guys. They're not the first one with a freaking truggy. The other thing that I heard, which actually is a really good point, and I heard it on the CCXRC live feed yesterday, that the price point's relatively high. It's 800 bucks. And you got to ask yourself, you're going to spend $800 on this car. Would it be beneficial to spend an extra $200 and get an X-Max? The ultimate off-road beast. Yeah, that's a good, to me, that's a good thing to ask yourself, because the X-Max, one of my most favorite cars, it's a freaking beast. It's not as fast as this. If you want something really fast and just brutally powerful, but if you want something, if you're not into the whole beating up cars and jumping them 9,000 feet in the air, and you just want something that soaks up bumps and drives off-road really well and looks really cool, maybe worth the extra $200 for the X-Max. So I think that whenever you get up in the price point of the $800 range, I think that is a question you need to start asking yourself. Should I just go ahead and get the pinnacle of all RC cars, the TRAXXAS X-Max? I don't know. It was a good thought. I like that thought because that's something I would think about. Well, guys, that's going to wrap this video up. You guys already know I'm going to take this thing to the track. It's going to the track hopefully tomorrow, and maybe the next video will be of me driving this thing on the track. So overall, guys, huge thumbs up. They killed it with this car. This car / truck. This thing is freaking awesome. I love it. I definitely recommend, if you can get your hands on one, to get your hands on one. Here it is. I kind of like the blue one. Looks kind of cool. I mean, the green looks good too, but here it is. Oh, it looks so sweet. Anyways, guys, I hope you liked the video. If you did, smash the like button, subscribe to my channel, turn on the notification bell, and you guys will see me next time. Later, guys.